Hey everyone, welcome to the Self-Awareness Journey podcast. I'm Melissa Albers.
And I'm JJ Parker. This podcast is for seekers of happiness and joy, seekers of a centered approach to success in life, seekers of their true, authentic selves.
Get ready for some real talk on everything from anxiety, emotions, and habits to love, compassion, and forgiveness. We know you'll be challenged and enlightened by this conversation. We're so glad you're here. Let's dive in. JJ, I know you always start our conversations, but I want to start us today. I have a really interesting thing that happened yesterday, and I noticed it, and I thought it'd be such a good conversation for us.
All right, let me hear it.
I was doing a women's forum, so I had like 40 women in a room, and we were just discussing things that are hard for us at work, things that are easy for us at work. You know, what are some of the strengths that women have in the workplace that are unique? And I noticed that the stories that were being told by some of the women that were a little bit on the younger side, I could absolutely, I could completely be with them right there. When I was younger, I had those same feelings. But as they described the scenarios to me now, I had a completely different reaction. And it got me thinking how as we age, regardless of our age, as we age, a lot changes for us. And looking at it from the self-awareness journey, which is, you know, your emotional, spiritual, mental, and physical bodies, right? We always talk about those. That as we age, things change in all of those different bodies. I just thought it'd be an interesting conversation.
So you're proposing that we have a conversation about how old you are.
You suck. The
Wow.
end.
How
Can't thank you enough for joining the pod.
This is the last edition.
Edition of the Self-Awareness Journey podcast.
Well, I think that's a pretty interesting conversation because no matter where, no matter where you are in life, tomorrow you are older.
Exactly.
And the next day you are older, right? And
Yes.
every step along the way, hopefully you are also a little bit wiser.
Yeah.
And you have a little bit better worldview, a little bit more context. Maybe you know yourself better, you know others better, you know how things work.
I noticed that you haven't used the word mature though. Not once. Thank God you have not said you get more mature.
Yeah, I don't think I like that word.
I don't either. I totally want to avoid maturity.
We can talk specifically about that word, but I don't like that word.
Not as a personal reference. But so let me just be a little more specific.
Yeah.
In this conversation we were having, when certain people, when there is ego present, like when you see somebody full of themselves or full of ego, you see them behaving a certain way around you or around other people. If you are less self-aware or if you are younger, oftentimes you get really triggered by them.
Yeah.
Right? You get really, really triggered by them and it makes you really mad.
Yep.
And a lot of your energy goes towards the response to someone acting that way.
Yep. Yeah. So, can we just, before we hop into that, just talk about what are some of the things that you think come out of being more experienced at life?
Nice phrase. Oh my God. I'm 56 years old and I can't explain to you how in the last year I feel like that has suddenly made me 95. Why is
I don't
that?
think so.
This must be why people buy sports cars and those little leather gloves with the knuckle holes missing.
Oh, are you saying you're going to go through a midlife crisis? Is
Perhaps.
that what you're saying?
I might. I just might.
Well, so what are some of these things that you are kind of observing change as you get older? What I heard you say there is you might get less triggered by things.
Yep. Okay. So
maybe
here's some
hold emotionally a little bit more stable.
Yeah. I would say there's a whole bunch of things I think that naturally evolve as we age. And some of those things would be your body shape and size, for example. And some people fight that to no end. You know, your face ages. Women don't like that. And there's a huge industry that is all
billions of dollars
spent making women not look like they are aging, right? So there's a huge relationship with body change, facial changes, sizes, everything as we age. I think that mentally we either decide over long periods of time to grow ourselves, and we mentally become more aware, more intelligent about our own feelings, and more intelligent about how the world works. Is intelligent the wrong word? I'm not sure. But I just think mentally the awareness has either been growing in you from the time you were younger because you've made that choice. So as you age, it expands, right? Or you don't, and it becomes tighter and smaller, and the box that you believe in stays really rigid, right? So I think that's a change that we see. I think there's a lot of emotional changes that we see. Sometimes we become more tired, or sometimes we start to stabilize a lot more. So I just think there's a number of things that change.
Well,
and I'm just curious to explore this a little bit.
Yeah. So first, like the only thing that, you know, like change is the theme, right? Like,
yeah,
like it is likely that like as you progress through life, things are going to change. So what you're saying is there's a bit of a choice to be made of like, do you want to just lean into those changes and like explore and develop yourself through those changes, or do you want to just try to hold tight to what was?
Right. Right.
That sounds a little judgy, but you could
It
choose.
isn't judgy though.
You
It's
could choose
truth.
either one. It's okay, right?
Yeah, it's truth. It's just truth.
But
Like-
things are going to change. So how you react to those changes is what you're talking about.
Right. Yes. So I have some more examples. Like, how about long-term marriages? Think about the changes that occur in a situation like that. Like in the early stage of, and I can use myself as an example happily because it's kind of funny. The first year I was married, oh my gosh, everything was a huge thing. Okay? Every single thing was a huge thing. I remember we got in a huge fight once about who took the garbage out. It lasted like 2 days, this stupid fight about the garbage can. And we lived in this house that had foam core doors, right? They were not heavy doors.
Yeah.
I'd get so pissed off. I would slam the door. And if I didn't get the right slam sound, I would open up the door. I'd slam the door again. And they're foam doors. So they'd be like, click. Right? Now we have these great, big, beautiful 6-panel doors. But
big old oak wooden doors that have a real nice slam to it.
I can't imagine having enough energy or interest to slam a door now. I can't even imagine. But oh man, when I was younger, forget about it. I was the
Spitfire, right? Like I
was gonna take a stand on everything. I'll show you.
Yeah, that is funny. Like there is a little bit. When you're younger, there's quite a bit more kind of like fight in you, right?
Yeah,
like,
P and V.
Yep, right.
Yeah, and why?
I don't know. I actually think that I like watching how younger folks act in that way. Not because it's entertaining. But I mean, it reminds me of my younger self, of course. But,
that's why it's entertaining, because you see yourself. That's the same thing.
Yeah, but a little part of me is like, God, I wish I still had that amount of punchiness left in me. Like, I just don't, right?
Yes.
But
yes,
like,
yes.
Especially in sort of in the business, like I'm in of like starting companies, it's actually like a surprisingly good trait to have this like I'm going to conquer the world
yes.
attitude and being stupid enough to like not understand why you can't do that.
Yes. Wait a minute. What you're talking about right now is risk. I think that's another great thing. Like your relationship with risk is oftentimes so different when you're younger.
So when you're younger, it's like you'll take way more risk. You're way more optimistic. You have way more fight in you. And you don't actually see all the scary stuff that's out there because you're not experienced enough to do it. So you're just totally cool with like running into the like dark woods that's filled with lions and tigers and bears. Yeah.
Hey, I have a question.
You're like, let's go. And you're like I look at it now, I'm like, yeah, you guys are going to get eaten in about 3 seconds.
Okay. More specifically, didn't you tell me a story once that there was a big snowstorm and you and your friends were behind the bumper of a car?
Oh, yeah.
Was that?
Yeah.
What were you doing?
Snowboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every time when I was like, I don't know, right, 17, 18, every time it would snow enough, like a couple inches, we'd grab a car, a ski rope, and a snowboard and go like straight down the main roads. Like this isn't like
in Bloomington, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what were we saying about running into dark forests? What a bunch of dingbats. Oh, okay.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying 46-year-old JJ kind of like misses those days.
Oh,
and
gosh.
I would say that to me, well, in that sort of same vein, Amber will often like introduce me as her fourth child, right?
Oh my!
Which like sounds like a disparaging. Like I think
you really should be first child.
Yeah, right.
If she wants to be.
Yes, I'm the biggest child here. Come on, I'm number one at being a child. Well, so whether she's trying to be disparaging or not, I don't really care. But what I take that as, I actually take that as like a little bit of pride. Like I'm proud that she introduces me that way. Because I think what she's saying is like, whatever. I like to joke around and be somewhat irresponsible sometimes or take risks or do whatever. But like those are really good traits for me to hang on to. Right?
So can I just give another example? Like this would be a way that you would handle something differently than how most people would. So there's a million examples, but this is the one from this morning.
Okay.
So boundary waters. You're going with your son again.
Yep.
And your son, for now 2 times, has lost his cell phone in the water, in the boundary waters. So most parents would be like, I'm not getting you another phone. Don't bring your phone. You can't have your phone in the boat, right? Yep. Nope, not you. You hold up this little orange life raft for a cell phone. A floaty. You're like, oh no, I know this is going to happen again. Like, this is just how it is.
Okay, but it gets way worse than that. Here's why. Why do I let my kid bring a cell phone to the boundary waters? Because we're supposed to be up there like
being one with nature.
Yeah, communion with nature and disconnecting and everything, right? And so like, of course, like there is no reason to bring a cell phone to the boundary waters.
Oh, yes, there is.
There is one reason. The reason is because my friend that we go with, his name's John.
Yeah.
It annoys the crap out of him that the kids play music while canoeing. And so what did I do? Not only did I buy him a floaty.
You bought a speaker.
I bought him a speaker, a waterproof speaker.
You are such a snot.
Just solely to annoy my buddy.
You are such a snot. Oh my God.
So actually, there would be maybe an example of why my wife calls me a child because I do somewhat childish things like.
Oh, really? Even as you age. So we've been teasing about my age, but you're no spring chicken either.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. So as we talk about how everyone else is aging, we don't mean you. Okay. I have a couple other ideas. I think another thing that changes as we age is our financial status or our relationship with money. So we either get more used to having more money or we see the consistency of money. We get to choose different things because of money. I think that changes. You know, from good Lord, I can't pay my electric bill, I'm going to get evicted from my studio apartment, to, you know, whatever, living in a house that you own. Right?
When we moved into our house, we couldn't afford any furniture, so we had like pop-up camp chairs in our living room. I mean, we
did that too.
Like, we did this thing where we kind of, you know, we bought a house when we were young that, you know, was pretty big, right? We kind of like, what we wanted to do is like, hey, we're gonna move in our house, we'll start a family, but we didn't want to hop around a bunch. But the result of that was like kind of being house poor, to the point where we just used our camping furniture in our giant house for quite a few years.
We did the same thing. We didn't have any dining room furniture or living room furniture for 2 years. We had a folding table. It was awesome. I felt pretty special though, because the folding chairs were padded. Ooh,
yeah, those are nice. But I agree. The relationship and how you think about money over time, like when you're young, it just feels like you don't have enough all the time.
Right, exactly.
And whether you have any more now than you did then almost doesn't matter. It's how you think about it, how you think about scarcity, and or how you maybe really more start to appreciate what you have. That's, I think when I was younger, I really didn't appreciate.
Really good one.
I really didn't appreciate what I had when I was younger, but now I really do.
You know, that's actually, that statement right there, appreciate what I have, that is also a really prevalent thing, I think, that happens for a lot of people as they age. They begin to have that feeling with a lot of things, not just stuff, but, you know, their family, for example. Like, why do you think people feel so special about grandchildren as opposed to children? There's a huge thing about that.
It's an appreciation thing.
Yeah. Appreciating how it's, you know, a childhood flies by. Kid isn't going to be a certain way forever. It changes so fast. And having a real appreciation for enjoying all of the little changes and how quickly they occur.
What about, think about like summer break, like summertime when you were a kid, and how long you think it lasted. And think about summertime today.
Oh, it lasts 6 minutes.
Right. Like, so your perception of time, I think, changes as you get older. To me, time is going faster than it did when I was younger. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that's such a good one. And how do you think, so I was talking at the beginning on the relationships with people. Like, what's your perspective about that? As you age, what do you think is your perception about how you interact with people? How many, who they are, longevity of them? Like, do you think there has something to do with that in relationship to getting older?
That's, well, you're asking the introvert about how...
Yeah, but you have good friends, though.
I do. So, let's see.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No. I think that, like, certainly I think when you're younger, you can really easily get kind of sucked into, I don't want to say the popularity game, but, you know, like
the drama of
being
whatever.
In a big, the drama of your friend group and who's doing what. And a little bit like a much more like even like gossipy around things. As I get older, I like just really don't care about any of that.
Right. I'm the same way.
To the point where if someone's gossiping about something, I'm just like, I'm out. I don't
care. Same. I think too, we hang on to things when we are younger. We hang on to people sometimes way longer than we should, even when we outgrow them or they outgrow us. You know, I just think that's a thing. And I think as I've gotten more aged and more comfortable with not doing that anymore. I think that's a huge piece.
There's Amber's like been friends with one of someone she met when she was like in second grade or something.
Oh yeah,
like a childhood friend. Somehow lasted this entire time. And
wow,
I remember
that's amazing.
Like even some high school friends after we were married for quite a while, she still kept in contact with. I was like, I always thought that was pretty impressive that she
extraordinary
kind of kept some of these relationships going for like a pretty long time. And whereas like I would say that my friend group has rotated quite a bit over the years. I'm trying to think like, I maybe have one or two people that I have one person that I will see like on a routine basis from high school. Yeah. But that's it.
Yeah.
Like not, that, and I don't know anyone from college anymore.
Yeah.
It just, some of these, it just morphs over time.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, because I had such a crazy upbringing and I was in all these different schools every year, I almost collected like a good friend from every school that I could kind of capture because of a certain age. And I stayed in touch with so many of those people too, because it represented something a little different for me.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, if it takes a lot of energy and we don't really have anything in common, you can still think of them fondly, but you don't have to practice the same feelings that you used to. So I think that's something that's really changed in me as I've gotten a little older.
All right, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about yourself as you've gotten older?
Oh, that's such a good question. You know what? I am so happy with myself now.
That's great.
And it has been very hard to get there. But now that I'm here, I am really pleased with how I can process things and be more objective about things that have nothing to do with me and never did, but I used to get all wound up. Just the amount of
And then when you would get wound up, what would happen after? You wouldn't feel good about it?
No, because there'd be a huge arc, right? It'd be like this big investment, emotional investment, and then a crash, like, oh my gosh, and then shame, like, why did I handle something like that? Or I feel guilty that I was doing this, or I just think that as I've aged, I feel a lot more settled in my own skin. How about you?
Yeah, same. I feel way more confident than I did when I was young. When I was young, I mean, we've had episodes about imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I still get that a little bit.
Yeah.
But when I was young, it was like all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just not confident in what I was doing, not confident in my decisions, like very, just unsure. Unsure. Yeah.
You know, what's funny? I was just thinking this is that if we all get this gift of more confidence, self-confidence as we age, if the majority of us can, what a wonderful thing. And I was reflecting, as I mentioned, I was in this women's forum the other day. There was a young person there who is she's not 25 yet, I don't think. And extraordinarily aware of her own skills, not in ego at all. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I had to be 50 years old before I thought of myself like that. And I was so proud of listening to her talk. It was just like such a thing to see that at such a young age.
Yeah, so that's where you would say she is like more mature at that.
Yes, exactly.
At that age than many other people. And that's where you'd use the M word.
Okay. Let me just take off my beanie hat with the little spinny thing on the top so I could use that word. Anyway, I just thought this was an interesting conversation because I realized that there's just natural things that evolve in our beings, as we get.
So what do you think it's going to be like in 20 years? Think about how
I don't know.
Comfortable and wise you're going to be then.
I don't know. I wonder if I'll still be hiding chocolate in all the spots of my car and everything in the freezer and at my desk.
We'll
all
do
of the things.
Follow-up pod in 2043. See how it's going.
In your 2 decades at a glance calendar.
Did you enjoy this episode? Please go to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review so others can discover it as well.
Growing self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and there's always further to go. And it's better when we're all in it together. Please think of someone you know who could benefit from hearing today's conversation and share this episode with them. We can't thank you enough for listening. Until next time, happy exploring, seekers.